OLLY'S Circus by Matt Gardner. As a special birthday treat for young Oliver Jackson, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson arranged a trip to the circus for him. They knew there was one in town, so they got some tickets as soon as they could before they'd sold out. This was to be a secret surprise for young Oliver, and so he didn't know anything about it. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson then got the family together, taking young Oliver with them. When they put him in the car, he had no idea where they were taking him. He was just glad to be going out somewhere. "Where are we going? Where are we going?" he asked over and over again. But no one would tell him because they didn't want to spoil his surprise. After a short journey, the car pulled into a big field with a large tent in the middle. As they parked their car, they were surrounded by lots of big caravans, brightly coloured trucks and trailers. To Oliver's great delight, there was a small fairground over in the corner of the field. This meant that he was able to have lots of rides on the various merry-go-rounds. He was allowed to have some candy floss too. Whilst Ollie was walking round the fairground, he thought he could hear a lion roaring. "Listen, Mummy!" he cried. "I can hear a lion!" "You don't get lions in London, dear," replied Mrs. Jackson. "Well, only in the zoo park," she then added, correcting herself slightly. "You must be mistaken," she teased, not wanting to spoil the surprise. The truth came out a short time later, though, for out of a nearby caravan came 3 clowns with orange hair and white painted faces. One of them bent down to speak to Oliver and asked, "What's your name?" "Oh, my name's Oliver," he announced proudly, "but my friends call me Ollie," he then added quickly, trying to be friendly. "Well, I will see you later, Ollie," said the clown. "I've got some work to do first." And then he left, making young Ollie wonder what was going on. "Why are the clowns here?" asked Ollie, with a puzzled look on his face. Then suddenly his face lit up and he asked, "Are we at the circus?" Mrs. Jackson could contain herself no longer and said, "Yes, that's why you thought you could hear a lion just now. Come along now, Ollie," she then told him firmly. "Let's go into the tent and sit down." Ollie's legs couldn't move fast enough. "Come along, Mummy," he told her excitedly. She had no choice but to obey him, for she could see he was very excited. Soon the Jackson family were all seated and ready for the show. They didn't have to wait long, as it turned out, for a short time later a funny man in a top hat and waistcoat came into the empty ring and cried, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The show is now ready to begin." All of a sudden some loud music started up from some loudspeakers, and 2 lady dancers appeared. They climbed up some long ladders into the roof of the tent and stood on some platforms facing each other from each end of the tent for a few moments. Much to everyone's amazement, the 2 ladies jumped off their platforms and into the air, quickly grabbing some wooden poles which hung from the ceiling. After swinging backwards and forwards for a few minutes, they then let go of their poles in mid-air and swapped sides. After doing this several times, they then met together on a wooden pole in the centre of the roof and hung there for a few minutes. Suddenly, one of them let go. The audience let out a big gasp as she grabbed the other lady's feet. "Oh!" they screamed, fearing for her safety. She then lunged upwards, and the lady who'd originally been holding the pole let go. The audience then gasped out loud again. They gasped, fearing that both ladies would fall to the ground. Fortunately for them and the audience, the lady who had been upside down managed to grab the pole in just enough time to save them. After a while they grew tired and left the stage. Ollie wondered what would happen next, as did the rest of the audience. After a long interval, a large cannon was pushed into the middle of the ring. Slowly, one of the clowns Ollie had seen earlier approached it from the back. He then lit a fuse and everyone waited for a big bang. But nothing happened. A second clown then appeared from the barrel of the gun and asked everyone, "Where am I?" The audience shouted to him that he was in the circus. A short time later, the original clown ran up to the cannon and suddenly there was a big bang. Luckily, the clown who'd been inside the cannon just managed to get out of the cannon in time. It still blew his wig off, though. "Who did that?" the clown asked. The audience shouted out, "He's behind you!" As they did so, the clown at the back of the cannon hid behind it. "Oh, no, he isn't," replied the clown who'd had his wig blown off. "Oh, yes, he is!" the children shouted. Then, just to prove that there was no one there, the clown walked round to the back of the cannon. Realizing he was about to be discovered, the other clown ran away backstage as fast as he could, whilst the other clown followed on behind him. Soon they both reappeared. One of them was chasing the other with a big red bucket. They ran round for a while, chasing each other. Then, when they were both out of breath, they came and stood in front of the audience, panting. Soon after, the one holding the red bucket turned and asked the audience if they thought the naughty clown should be punished. "Do you think I should pour this bucket of custard down his trousers?" he asked. "Yes, yes!" the children cried as the bad clown shook his head. Whilst he was standing there, the clown with the bucket walked up to the naughty clown, pulled his trousers away from his tummy, then poured some custard down his front. He then rubbed his hands and walked off. The audience roared with laughter. After crying out loud, the one with the custard down his trousers then walked away very slowly. What would happen next? Ollie wondered.